right, now I'm gonna tell y'all, the technique that I'm actually using is, I call it paralleling. What we're doing is we're paralleling the bank, which a lot of people don't do. We're getting our boat up against the bank and we're getting in the strike zone the entire way down. And if you look down here, we've got a point here, we got another point, we got a little island coming up that's gonna be a point. We've got all of these different little hard edges, and those are like ambush points for these fish. And as we go down, we're staying in the strike zone the entire time. If you would park your boat out and throw to the point, you would be coming off away from the strike zone every single cast right off the bat. Whereas when I throw out, I'm gonna be along the strike zone the entire time I bring it in. Being in the strike zone gets you more fish, I promise. Can you see that fish tailing out there? Yeah, I'm gonna throw it. I'll get him. Oh, there he is. Now, a lot of people, when you're out fishing, you know, sometimes just the basics end up being the best thing to use. And what I mean by that is just a plain jig head with, what I got today was one of those MirrOlure marsh minnows and the salt and pepper with the chartreuse tail. Give them a little bit of triggering to get in the bite. These fish, what we're doing is we're paralleling the bank, we're going along, and what we're doing is we're looking for fish that are up on the banks tailing, and they're just looking for bait. They're pretty easy to catch that way, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. That's a nice one. Let's get him in here. Oh, that's a nice one. See, a lot of times, y'all, when you have low light conditions like this, where the sun's just kind of hanging, oh, he's so fat and heavy, I can't even pick him up. But when you got low light conditions like this, what happens is that these fish get up tight to the bank, and what they're doing is they're just going along, and we call it milling, where they go along, they just pick along, trying to chase up any kind of bait fish, crabs, crawfish that we have here in some of the brackish waters, and they're looking for that. And anything that goes in front of them, they're gonna eat it. Our water's extremely clear, so what I did was I went with a salt and pepper, and this MirrOlure marsh minnow, it's got a chartreuse tail on it, just to trigger that extra little strike that we need. I got a 3/8 ounce jig head, because the reason why, in this really shallow water, I want that bait to go right to the bottom and kind of rub the bottom, where it makes them kind of turn, look, they hear the oyster shells. Really good fish, look at that. All right, let's get him back in the water. That's a pretty beautiful coastal fish right here. Everybody loves these things. All right, spunky, ready to go. This is a prime example of what you look for when you're paralleling these banks when it's real calm like this. We've got a redfish in the back here, and as you see him, he's just cruising the bank. We can see his tail. He's mulling, he's like, we call him milling around. Oh, kind of spooked him. Oh, there he is. I got him. Just like that, y'all. I mean, we saw him moving. You can't do any better than that. Oh, stay on there while I try to get my pop-o down. That's just the way it's done. You look for that tail and that little movement up in those little pockets and bays and all those little trinosses coming out. That's what the fish are in there. They're feeding, and we're gonna present that bait to them running parallel to the bank. I mean, that is textbook red fishing. Awesome. Now, all of these redfish that I'm catching, you know, as you see, they're all anywhere from, I don't know, say 5 pounds and up. These fish are all marsh fish. These are the ones that are gonna live in here for the summer, grow a few inches, and then as they get about 27 inches, they're gonna move out and get into the Gulf and be our breeding stock. Look at all them pretty spots on that fish. And that just shows these fish are just milling around in there. He's a good fish. And with these style baits, I'll get him in. And with these style baits, what these minnow style baits do is this tail's gonna flap as it's going across. And as you saw, I reeled that bait up to him and then dropped it in front of him. When this thing drops, this tail paddles down, it vibrates, displaces water, and then what it does is that attracts the fish for them to eat it. They're gonna see it, and they're gonna feel it on their lateral line, and that's gonna tell them, this is something that I wanna eat.